Namaste, dear sisters and brothers, and welcome to today's evening session, continuing with the theme or quality of the week enthusiasm. As we move on to day 79 of our BHED program, Being Heartful Every Day. Just a gentle reminder, if you have not done so, to share the masterclasses with anyone you feel can get benefited from heartfulness practice, and also invite a buddy for Being Heartful Everyday program so that they can experience the everyday exercises we explore in this program as well. So, with that, let's move on with our inspirational reading for this week, where we are reading A User's Guide to Living, Part 3. So, we are going to continue from Prayer Redefined. In most religious traditions, prayer is offered to appease a deity, to ask for something, or to get protection from evil. God is seen as someone outside, sitting in some imaginary heaven. The spiritual understanding is quite different. The absolute, the source of everything, is inside us. In fact, it is at the center of everything, including every atom. Before creation, there was only the source. When we emerged from the source and took the present form, we started to identify ourselves with the material world. But that central point is deeply rooted within us. In this context, prayer is a conscious attempt to establish a connection with the source, a relationship with the source, and to allow that relationship to blossom into a deep communion. This relationship then enables the flow of grace from the source to the heart of a human being. It is devotion that creates the vacuum or pull that attracts the flow of grace from the source. It is love that creates the relationship or bond. This bond is then strengthened by the closeness that is established by constantly establishing this link, which we know as constant remembrance. In the heartfulness tradition, our true journey is all about returning back to the source, back to our original home. This begins with the recognition and gradually grows into a deep realization that the source is within us and we can become one with it. Prayer is an intentional act of communication or connection. The various steps in the process of establishing a permanent connection with the source are making the connection, creating the pull to invite grace, and making the connection permanent. I'll repeat this part. The various steps in the process of establishing a permanent connection with the source are making the connection, creating the pull to invite grace, and making the connection permanent. So, how do we do these three things? So, let's move on with the first one, which is making the connection and establishing the relationship. A good analogy for understanding the science of prayer is telegraphy. This idea of connecting over long distances was the most advanced technology in Babuji's time. In today's world, connecting to the internet using Wi-Fi could be a better analogy. Initially, you have to identify yourself, establish credentials, use a password, etc. As you log in, to establish connection. Once you have established the initial connection, it becomes automatic. So, this first step is making your presence known and attracting the attention of the Absolute within. In other words, it is all about setting the intent. Also, in telegraphy, electric current flows from positive to negative. Without that differential, no message would be transmitted, which brings us to the next step. How can prayer fill the heart with love? In nature, wherever there is a flow, it is from a higher level to a lower level, or the transference is set by positive and negative polarity. Always a differential is required, as when two things are at the same level, there is no flow. If we can create a state of vacuum in the heart when we connect in prayer, the flow of grace is imminent. Love fills us, being if we create that state of supplicancy within ourselves, which means to place ourselves at the lowest level we can be. We let our heart become so receptive, so yielding. This tilt happens with devotion, the attitude or state of acceptance that the giver is the Lord and we are humble receivers. Devotion creates that vacuum in the heart, which can be filled by grace gushing in. Imagine for a moment that instead of love, your heart is burdened with desires and ego. What can enter such a heart? Any compromise by creating more than one channel during the prayer simply dilutes our efforts. The entire heart is to be engaged in prayer. Partial attention does not work. Wholesomeness of the attention of the heart, filled with love, creates holy feelings within. Our heartfelt attitude at such moments ensures our success in tapping into the heart of the Absolute. A great poet once said, O thou thirsty for the divine intoxication, empty thy heart for the purpose. For the head of the bottle of wine bows down only over an empty cup. This is probably what Lord Jesus meant when he said, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. In his beatitudes from the Sermon on the Mount, it is an attitude of extreme humility that creates the tilt, which enables grace from the divine to flow into the heart. We will stop here for today. And moving on with practically putting what we have just now read through, let's prepare ourselves for the universal prayer where we are so deeply connected to our inner self that we are ready to offer the universal prayer from the core of our heart with the presence of divinity in our heart. So let's take a minute to prepare ourselves for universal prayer. You can gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. With every breath, going deeper into your inner self. Now, bringing in a subtle suggestion that all brothers and sisters are being filled with love and devotion, and real faith is growing stronger in them. अब अगले कुछ क्षणों के लिए हम अपना ध्यान इस बात पर केंद्रित करेंगे कि सभी भाई बहन प्रेम और भक्ति से भर रहे हैं और उनमें सच्ची श्रद्धा दृढ़ होती जा रही है। If you feel you are ready to come out of your prayer, you can gently open your eyes. Thank you, dear sisters and brothers, for joining for today's session. Just a gentle reminder for your bedtime prayer and reflection for the day before you wrap up your day. See you tomorrow at 6 a.m. Good night.